Mm, mm, mm. Hey everybody, I'm over here just jamming to the little music, the little beat. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. By the time you guys watch this, it will be Sunday morning. Have a blessed Sunday morning. Hopefully this video is finding you guys healthy and happy. I know that I'm on my way to healthy, and thank you for everybody who's been sending out the well wishes. We're going to go ahead and do a review for Bel-Air season 1 episode 4, and the name of that episode is Canvas. So I promised you guys I would start checking out, getting some of the names of some of these amazing actors, these amazing story creators, writers, because this show I think does an amazing job of keeping the theme of the old show and while creating a whole new fresh approach that has not been boring to me yet. Lately, a lot of shows, I think the stories are all over the place. There's not much excitement, and they managed to make a classic idea fresh again. This is how you do a reboot, unlike and just like that, which was a dumpster fire. And but that's a whole side note from me. Like I said, this is V, the Sepia Scholar, and I want to shout out to everybody who's been liking my videos. Definitely share my videos, comment, let me know what you think about the content that I'm putting out. Let me know if there's some other content you'd like me to check out in review. I'm always open to any suggestions. And I just want to thank everybody who comes through and watches my videos, because I think you guys are amazing and you're a blessing to me. And I really appreciate the love that you're showing me, just stopping by and spending some time with me talking about these shows. So with that being said, let me shout out some of the actors on the show. So one of the actors that's really coming through is Jimmy Akingbola, who plays Jeffrey. He's not really my type, but the way he's, throwing his weight around on this show, automatically sexy to me. Loving you, Jimmy. Jabari Banks is the perfect Will. I don't know how they found somebody to capture innocence and hood at the same time. And then we have the new Aunt Viv, who's coming through, chocolatey, beautiful, melanated, smart, and very outspoken, like the original Aunt Viv. Loving it, loving it, loving it. And that is Cassandra Freeman. But all the actors are top notch on this show, and I love it. The director of this episode is Dale Stern, and some of the writers are Nicole Delaney and Henry Hank Jones, which is the executive story editor. Shout out to you, my brother. You are doing the thing. So, with all that being said, the synopsis of this episode said the Banks family rallies around Uncle Phil to ramp up his campaign. Will past starts to catch up to him, and he finds help in an unexpected place. So I was really excited to get into this episode. But with the last episode, we saw Rashad, the grimy looking ass, smoking, gloating ass dude, basically getting all happy because he said, quote unquote, I done found Will's cocky ass. So with this episode, we start off with Carlton playing his dad in chess, and he seems to be in a much better mood. I'm glad, Carlton. You growing on me too. That's why I love the acting on this show. They're doing an incredible story arc and character arc. He's calling his old man Yamakra, and I wrote in my notes, love to see them smiling, especially Carlton. Carlton wins, and his dad tells him he basically, Carlton had beat him 3 moves ago. Carlton corrected him and said he counted 5. Uncle Phil said he was taking it easy on him, and Carlton said, let's run it back. But Uncle Phil has to get ready for his campaign events tomorrow. Carlton asks if he's feeling good, and he says he's especially excited about him, Carlton, and Will pounding the pavement together to get people registered to vote. He asks if his mom put him up to the whole Colby Shack Carlton Will combo. He says, first of all, those two won rings together, and me and your mom move as one. And I'm like, that's right. Okay, Black Love United Front. That's how they got into such a strong, successful family unit. Like, they totally put up a united front. And so Carlton asks, what does he gain from this? Phil says, no grounding for 6 months. And Carlton calls out, I guess Uncle Phil was on NPR, and he says fear is not a good motivator. And now Uncle Phil says maybe he needs to change his stance. And I'm like, and I'm like, the hell, I know with my kids, I definitely I'll put the fear of God in them. Um, I put discipline with love, and it's working so far. Carlton says if they can get 30 voters with no drama, he gets VIP seats to the Grand Prix at Monaco. So that's big. Uncle Phil says 50. Carlton says deal, and Uncle Phil said he would have taken 40. So I'm like, son, learn how to negotiate. I knew as I grew up, I had to learn how to negotiate. When I got my first job, I didn't even have enough sense to negotiate. But boy, if they came at me now, I would definitely know how to haggle with the best of them, especially with all the good coaching I've got from people who really know how to make a good business deal. Anyways, once again, I love to see Carlton smile. And he's actually a handsome young dude when he's not grimacing. So I love to see it. We see Will chasing down Lisa. He's trying to get her to come over for a study session. And Lisa says the class isn't that hard. He said, not for you. You grew up with this stuff. He said his Aunt Viv talked him into taking an art history class. And Lisa says she would pay to see him do ballet. She suggested an artist for his term paper, Kara Walker, and it turns out it was her mom's favorite artist. That is how Will finds out her mom died of lupus 3 years ago. It definitely solidifies their friendship, and he asks if she's coming to his uncle's fundraiser so she could show off what those skates do. She says glide. And she said she's so good that she was in ATL, the movie. And Will calls her Nunu and threatens to snatch her chain. If you don't know, that's a really famous scene where T.I., who plays Rashad, is dating Nunu, played by Lauren London. And when he finds out that she's lying about who she is, he snatches a chain that he gave her to show that they were together. So that's definitely a classic scene. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Me personally, I haven't skated in years, so I'm sure my big ass would definitely not be gliding across the floor. So while they're talking it up, there's an ominous brother with a tattoo on his neck. I think it was a rose tattoo, watching them. So, what's going on, suspect? He pulls off, and they're unaware that they may have been in danger. Now you see Aunt Viv braiding Ashley's hair. And it's so ironic because I just teased my mom about not knowing how to do hair and having other people do our hair. And she was like, oh no, I just couldn't do fancy braids. And I wanted you guys to look good, but I used to do your hair. But I have no memory of this woman doing my hair. I have memories of other people doing my hair, like my quote unquote godmom and my stepmom. So I think she felt salty some kind of way, but I definitely do not have that memory. But I do have a memory of sitting there watching Legend and being scared to death when the devil came out. If you've never seen that movie, it has Tom Cruise, and it has this scene where the devil is trying to kill a unicorn. And I remember getting beads put in my hair and watching that show. So just know your children do care when you sit and spend time with them braiding their hair. And that's the moment they caught here with Aunt Viv and Ashley. Ashley isn't worried about whatever Aunt Viv is doing in her head. She's busy texting. And Aunt Viv is fussing at her to sit still. I've been there too. Let me know. Have you ever been getting your hair hot comb and then they burn the back of that neck? That is the worst feeling in the world. And they used to love to do that for Easter, hot comb your hair to get those curls in there. And it was like the back of that neck was tore up when it was over. Either way, Ashley asks why she can't just wear a hat. And Aunt Viv explains that there will be a lot of eyes on them and they need to be perfect. And I'm like, man, that is a tough place to be in, and probably why I'm not going to say never. I'm never going to say never, but it's highly unlikely I would ever be a first lady or a politician's wife, because I want to live and live on my own terms, but you never know what can happen. So Aunt Viv says everyone else is tired, but she loves her husband and he supported her art for many years. But as she's saying this, she seems to be kind of down and not convinced what's the words that are coming out of her mouth. Now over to Will. He's freaking out because Trey says Rashad knows he's in Bel-Air. He asks if Trey told. And Trey's like, heck no. But anyway, Trey said Rashad is tapped into LA, like actually has boots on the ground. And they wonder when the shit is going to end. And I'm like, dang, you can't take away all of the imminent danger. We need at least 2 seasons of this show, man. Give me something. I need something to watch. I've been trying to watch Ozark, and like I said, it's so damn dark and dragging that I get sleepy. I need something with something bright lights because I'm definitely a Sesame Street kid. I need some excitement. But either way, they realize that they have to dead this shit before it's too late. Next scene we see Jeffrey just chilling. Will comes in looking for Uncle Phil. Jeffrey can tell something is wrong, so he asks if Will needs something because Uncle Phil is in a meeting. Will hesitates. He asks G if he knows why he's actually in Bel-Air. G reiterates the whole story to him. And he says, some bad man, so you know he's Jamaican, from Philly wants to deal with you. He says, Rashad Denton, right? I was stunned just like Will was stunned. He says he sent a shooter for Trey and he won't dead his beef with me. Jeffrey tells him to calm down. He'll handle it. He asks him how he's going to do it, and G says, don't worry, I'll handle it. No need to trouble your aunt and uncle. And then he sits down and promptly finishes his tea. G shit, literally. Will leaves confused and intrigued. And then it goes over to Hillary, who's on a Zoom call with many influencer houses. Apparently that's a thing. She's telling them that she has 75K. Of course, the plane wants to fly right now. She says she has 75K Insta followers and 200 plus TikTok followers. I'm thinking I might jump on TikTok, y'all. But I damn sure don't have no moves. But if y'all want to see this struggle twerk, let me know in the comments. But she said her cooking tutorials have high engagement levels, and she finds herself defending and selling her brand. And she looks annoyed by the whole entire thing. Then we turn over to Aunt Viv clearing out her workspace to paint and talking to her soror. She is realizing Phil's campaign shouldn't crowd out her gift. Her friend calls out her contemporaries and she gets frazzled. And she's like, she used to get so annoyed when they used to put her name with those artists, and now she would give anything to be mentioned in the same breath. Now that is passion for you. I have something I'm passionate about as well that way. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, oh, I just better get it done, whether it makes it or fails, at least I did it, right? And you guys should try whatever goals you have, you should go for it too. Anyways, she realizes you need talent and opportunity. And her friend says she's in luck because Reed Broderick is back in town and his job is rediscovering artists. She thinks it's a perfect way to get back into the art world. So she asks if Aunt Viv would be open to meeting up with the dude. And they fade away. We don't find out what her answer is. So now we have Will at the piano looking stressed and down. And he starts to play and Hillary comes in. And I'm like, wow, he's good. And he lets her know that he played in church, and his mom even went as far to make him keyboard keys to practice because they couldn't afford a real piano. She compliments him, but she's in a funk because nobody sees the potential in what she does. She's worried because her parents want her to move out, but she can't afford what she needs or wants. And she's like, it's like being poor. And Will says he feels the same way when he felt the same way when he was born. So I thought, like, lady, you're complaining about something that most people deal with every day. But anyway, she tells Will Carlton is getting something out of their pair up. Hillary says Carlton knows how to work the system and he better figure it out. Will runs in to help Aunt Viv with her boxes, and Will asks if Trey can come out for a visit since she was hypothetically offering to pay for it anyway. And I just realized, I don't know what I was thinking, but this is supposed to be the Ice Tray character, the one that Don Cheadle, that's my boo, that Don Cheadle played, and the one that actually pulled Hillary when he came to visit. So I'm like, and she was like, when do you want him to come? And he's like, yeah, I want him to come tomorrow. And Aunt Viv automatically gets worried. She asks if everything is okay in Philly. And Will said everything that happened, he came to Bel-Air, and he was basically felt guilty that when everything happened, he came to Bel-Air and Trey got stuck. Aunt Viv says it's a shame when our fortunes diverge from those we love. And I'm like, I'm with you, my sister. So they're showing sometimes the guilt that people feel when they make it and they have others in their family who haven't made it. And you basically got to figure out, do you feel bad for working hard and getting where you got? Or do you try to pull the people up with you? Do they pull their own selves up? These are all things, you think about when you've made it out of an area that might have been impoverished. What do you guys think in the comments? Sound off. Either way, now Will wants to make a deal. He strikes a similar deal to Carlton, except if he gets it done, Trey can come by the end of the week. And she says deal. Will is happy and hugs her. He almost forgets to help her finish helping her with the boxes. Now we see Will and the family getting ready for voter outreach. They are getting the prep talk. Basically, don't act up in these people damn store, but the political version. And Will and Carlton are besties getting ready to knock on doors. Hillary and Ashley will ask business owners to hang signs, and the parents will meet with the community leaders. And Aunt Viv made a comment about no one showing up, and Uncle Phil did not like that. Will asks what G's assignment is, and he says, and G's like, I'll be around. So G does what he want to do. Uncle Phil pulls Aunt Viv to the side for a word. He's telling her that the polling says that she can come off as sarcastic and arrogant. And then of course she just says something slick about nobody showing up to see Uncle Phil. She says he can go without her, and he says he wants her there and he needs her next to him. He says he loves that she speaks freely, but maybe she doesn't have to say everything she thinks. And he said he took a back seat and let her shine. She says she'll back off until the vote. So they're definitely a team. I really like how they're showing their interaction together and how they're helping each other grow. So Will and Carlton are out canvassing and getting doors closed in their face. One person even said why they should vote for a nigga with that much money. That they are overseers in suits. Carlton is frustrated that people don't want to vote but complain. Will says they don't believe in the shitty system with bad options. Carlton asks Will to figure out how to get through to these people. Will says first stop calling them these people. Shout out to Lindsay on Married at First Sight. Because people got mad at her for saying these people, but she might have been talking about production. Anyways, Will calls out his intent and Carlton calls out Will's intent, like it might not be good, and he realizes that Carlton needs his help. So remember, Carlton's only doing all this to go to the Grand Monaco, and Will's calling him out, and he doesn't really truly know what Will's intent is, but Will knows that he needs his help. Either way, we go back to Hillary and Ashley, who go to a record store, and Jazz is there. Jazz has the prettiest eyes ever. He's a beautiful little man, and his eyes are just lovely. So Jazz and Hillary interact, and you definitely see chemistry off bat. And he reminds her that he calls her the tall honey in the pool house, and she calls him the Uber driver that looks like Tupac. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. It's definitely around the eyes that you can see that. It turns out that he owns a record store, and Hillary is impressed with his multiple hustles. And he says he's just not afraid of hard work. Ashley's still texting with the mystery person and makes an excuse to leave Hillary to meet whoever it is. Hillary asks Jazz what his social media presence is like, and he says non-existent. He doesn't even have Instagram. And yes, I know a lot of people who don't have social media, and it throws me off every time. But Hillary asks for his phone, and Ashley walks out and starts putting on lip gloss. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are meeting with the Reverend. The wife recognizes Aunt Viv for creating a mural on the side of the elementary school she worked at. Phil says she used to be an artist. And the Reverend's wife says that the school, or First Lady, that the school is closed and the mural is gone too. When they leave, Aunt Viv says, what do you mean I used to be an artist? Artists never cease to be artists, even after they stop doing their work. And he apologizes. Viv breaks down that Phil is playing it safe, and people can tell that they are being politicianed. She said there was a lady whose nephew got set up by a crooked cop, and Uncle Phil says he plans to deal with that. But if he says anything, the police unions would be all over his black ass. And Aunt Viv says if you don't address your black voters, you won't have to worry about anybody being on your black ass. And she says she knows what he stands for, but the voters don't. She tells him to speak from your heart, because at the end of everything, you still have to be you. She had and I just thought about it like, this is an amazing, motivating speech. And I could tell she meant it, but she had a different message for Hillary. Because remember, Hillary was saying that she didn't want to change herself for her platform. And she was like, sometimes you need to change yourself to get in. So I guess it's different when you're talking to your children and when you're talking to a significant other, your approach, right? Anyways, we finally see where Ashley ends up, and she's with a group of kids playing video games. She asks where her friend was, and they say she's supposed to come, but she's always late. And in my mind, I'm like, run, girl, this is a damn setup. Anyways, Back to Jazz and Hillary. They're recording a video for the gram, and they basically are bonding over movies. And she made his first post, and she is his first follower. And I'm like, now that's support. And I, once again, am going to say I love the chemistry between the two. And she lets him know that the first one is free. And he says she's good at the social media stuff. And she says not good enough because it's not helping her in the real world. And they're talking about how, it doesn't feel too great to get out when you don't have a safety net. It's scary. And I'm like, I do remember when I was about to go off to school and I was going to be away from my family. And it's a scary thought to know that you don't have your immediate support system. So I get it. Jazz says the record shop is keeping his Uncle Charlie's legacy, and she will have to find her way too. They finally remember poor Ashley and to go find her. Okay, now we see that we see two cars sitting next to each other, and then who's inside? We see Jeffrey, and he's actually talking to the dude with the neck tattoo. So I was thinking he was somebody from Philly about to snatch Will up, but he's an associate of Jeffrey. He tells the associate that he already paid Rashad, but he found out about how wealthy the family is, and he didn't even ask the man how much more money he wants because he has no intention of paying him. So he also told the dude with the rose tattoo on his neck that there's no need to increase the security detail on the family. And then they both pull off. Back to Will and Carlton. And Will is getting signatures, but Carlton is upset because Will is slandering the opponents and calling Blue Lives Matter racist. Carlton isn't here for calling all conservative racist. And he says Will tramples on all the rules and still comes out on top. He also calls Will ignorant, and Will bucks up, and Carlton says, are you going to beat me down like they do in Philly? And Will turns to him and says, all hoods are the same, and that's why my approach works. Carlton thinks that Will is a bullshit artist, and he asks if he really came for education or if there's more to the story because his act is not fooling him. And he said he knew Will was full of shit, and Will says, fuck you, and walks off. Yeah, I dropped the F-bomb. I got to give some realism. Either way, Carlton looks vindicated, but to me, he's blind, and he's full of shit, too. I'm never going to get over the fact that he backed up Connor, even with him framing Will. And if he sees how quickly Connor was to throw Will's life away, he doesn't think police do it too. I've personally seen police videos where they dropped the drugs and they didn't know somebody was watching, and they tried to frame somebody. And I mean, it happens. So it's real crazy that Carlton is so blind by it. So back to Ashley, and she is still hanging with the Smollett looking little boy. They look just like the Smollets, and they're watching Jurassic Park. The little dude finally makes a move and puts his arm around her, and she looks uncomfortable. And right when she look up, Jeffrey done popped up like the damn boogeyman. He's standing there next to the mom. And next scene is they're walking away, and as they walk, she says he must be proud of himself for finding her. And Jeffrey's like, it'd be crazy if your dad found out that I let a 12-year-old girl out with me. So Jeffrey says that, yeah, the kids didn't pose a security risk, and he'll keep it between them if she stops sneaking around. And she says her parents would never let her go see her gaming friends. And he says that's because there are some unsavory people who would snatch her up and extort her parents. So she's like, understood. So Will takes a break from canvassing to go see Jazz. And dude runs in to see Jazz to get beats because he's working with Pharrell. And Jazz, he describes some crazy mix of beats, and Jazz gives him the perfect record. I believe it's from Africa. And he asked if he can get a pic of him and Jazz and all them on the gram. And they're all surprised because they're like, Jazz, when did you get on the gram? And he mentions Hillary. And I thought that was super cute. And they took a cute picture of mobbing together. And he basically has to remind Will of why he's working with Carlton for Trey. So he goes and finds Carlton, and Carlton's like, I've been getting signatures, but somebody signed as, I think they're giving me fake names. Somebody signed as Nino Brown, and I almost fell out. And Will says, I'm going to have to show you New Jack City. Carlton finally admits that Will is a good friend to Trey, And Will says, we keep talking to each other like we're going to change each other's mind. We just need to say less. So they're going to work the opposite sides of the street to get things done quicker. And Will is getting signatures. He's mowing lawns, playing with babies, kissing babies or whatever, playing with puppies, all types of foolishness to get these signatures. Sipping lemonade with old ladies. He was just charming. After they're all done, Will tells Carlton that he invited all these people to the skating party. And Carlton starts freaking out because it was supposed to be private. And Will said that it would include food and drink. And Carlton's like, you're going to throw it off because the campaign's been working on it a long time. And Will's like, well, it'll help with registration and connecting to the Black community. And now he has to convince Uncle Phil. So next scene, Uncle Phil's freaking out because now he has to refund all the VIP exclusive tickets and he can't vet people in questions. So Aunt Viv says, well, maybe this is how we can mix it up. And Carlton actually backs Will up. Uncle Phil is down. We see it. Uncle Phil is down to do it. Now we see the whole family skating and having fun. Even Jeffrey is vibing on some skates. Jeffrey just be chilling in the back. We see Lisa and Aunt Viv sees her and gives her a huge hug. She lets her know that the breakup was awkward, but she would still want a girls' night and to talk about the lupus fundraiser that went well. That was a fundraiser for the sorors. And she hugs her tight. Again, Ashley is sad, and Jeffrey comes up to her and says, being a kid is tough. And he lets her know that he invited her friends, even the mystery girl. Like I said, I thought she was about to be taken, but apparently even the mystery girl that didn't show up was real. So Will's in the bathroom, and a policeman comes in, and he asks if he's Phil's nephew. Turns out he's Lisa's dad. And Will is spooked. He tells Will that he's the LAPD chief of police. And I'm like, oh shit. And Will automatically has PTSD from being arrested. And he said, you being a cop throws me. And the dad says, don't worry, kid, you're not in trouble. Will promptly confronts Lisa for not saying anything. She said, I didn't ask you what your dad does. And he said, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen him since he left. She apologizes, but Will skates off. We see everybody having fun, but Will and Lisa, who are staring at each other like hurt puppies. Carlton jumps up on the mic and hosts and introduces Dad. And Lisa's dad does not look happy. Uncle Phil says he hopes it goes better than the Big Boy interview, and he opens it up to questions from anybody. And one lady asks if they will keep using gang enhancement laws to lock up boys for a long period of time for nonviolent offenses. And Uncle Phil agrees that they've been doing that, and he says he will prohibit the enhancement for nonviolent offenses. Carlton is side-eyeing because, everybody's scared that if he actually speaks his truth, he won't get elected. And Lisa's dad is waiting to jump bad. They ask about crooked LAPD and defunding the police. And I just thought about Alyssa and Chris. I'm thinking about Married at First Sight on this Bel-Air review because she claimed she didn't like Chris because he said he was he was for defunding the police, and Alyssa said she loved the first responders. Girl, you just thought that man was ugly with a yuck mouth and a dad bod. You need to stop. Anyways, basically, he looks at Lisa's dad because remember he's police, the chief, and he gives his real answer. Defund the police. He says the justice system is failing and changing in a way that's not good, and he plans to take a new approach even if it's unpopular. The DA should work for the people, not the police. And Lisa's dad looked uncomfortable but accepting. The family comes home happy, and mom and dad start to make out in front of the kids who are grossed out, and they're like, how you think you got here? I'll be telling my kids that too. Hey. And Jeffrey tells Uncle Phil that we need to chat. Will asked Carlton to accept he was right, and Carlton said he didn't fight. And they agreed to quit trying to trip each other up, and they dap. Hillary is with Aunt Viv when she finds out she can move into an influencer house. They were impressed with what she did with Jazz. Aunt Viv wants to know where the strings attach. Nothing is free. Hillary gets upset and asks her if it would kill her to say congrats. And Aunt Viv remembers that she doesn't have to say everything out loud. Then we pan over to Will chilling, reading the book. And Aunt Viv comes in and tells him that she will fly Trey out. And she's proud of how he worked with Carlton. And he's super happy. He gets a call from Trey, or he called Trey. I can't tell by the way they're doing the sound effects, right? And he tells him that he's going to get to fly out. And Trey tells him that grimy ass Rashad is dead. He got shot in a strip club. They're in the clear. Will is perplexed if it was G, and it fades to black. So we're left wondering what the hell fake Idris Elba or G got going on. What kind of ties he pulled? Is he the one that got Rashad killed? Is Uncle Phil coming out against the LAPD? Is that gonna cause trouble? Hillary, is she gonna find her way when she goes to the influencer house? Is Aunt Viv gonna get back into the art world? Lil Ashley, finally found some friends that were Smollets. And are Jazz and Hillary gonna hook up? And are Lisa and Will gonna look past their differences about the popo? And we like Carlton, he's smiling. And I thought this episode was great. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And like I always say, love who loves you. And may God give you everything that you need and hoped and prayed for. And I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Go to brunch with me, y'all. Have a sit. Be outside. I want to be outside. Be outside for me. And with that being said, Sepia Scholar out.